With traditional spoon feeding, what usually happens is that an infant is presented with some kind of puree or mush on a spoon by the parent, and it's a case of trying to get, as many mothers know, the spoon into the child's mouth. With baby-led weaning, the control is handed over to the child. So you present them with a range of foods, usually finger foods from 6 months old, and the child can pick up the food freely and feed themselves. Indeed, some mums actually offer the child being baby-led a spoon, which is preloaded, and they can operate the spoon themselves. The study came from our main question was, how does this type of weaning, or how does this style of weaning impact on health outcomes and food preferences? Because there was an evidence gap there. We simply don't know. There's a lot of talk by mums on the internet and, playgroups and coffee mornings about how it works and so on, but the real evidence is lacking. So we wanted to find that evidence.
So we knew we wanted to do a comparison between the two weaning groups. So then it was a matter of recruiting participants. And for many years now at Nottingham, I've been running the Nottingham Toddler Lab, and so we have a database of local families that have signed up to take part in the kind of work that I do and others in the department. So we recruited quite a lot of parents from that database and gave them a questionnaire. But we also recruited additional participants from website forum that Alan was aware of. And we ended up with a sample of 155 participants that we were then able to classify as either traditional spoon-fed weaning or baby-led weaning.
We asked them about what they'd actually done with the weaning process. We asked them questions about things like whether the baby had been breastfed, breastfeeding duration, and we also asked them about the child's height and weight so that we could calculate their body mass index, which is an indication of their weight relative to their height and their age and their gender.
I think there are two key findings really. The first is that the baby-led weaning group showed an increased liking for carbohydrates over the spoon-fed group, and that was a very strong finding that was statistically significant. And it was also their preferred food group. Out of all the food groups, carbohydrates was the group that the baby-led weaning children liked the most. And that's in quite stark contrast to the spoon-fed group, who liked sweet things the most.
The second finding of note is that the baby-led weaning children were more likely to have a body mass index that was in the healthy range, as compared to the spoon-fed children who had higher body mass index overall.
Obviously, with any work like this, it's really important to take into account socioeconomic status, because socioeconomic status is related to a lot of developmental and health outcomes. But we took that into account right at the beginning when we collected our data. We asked parents about questions about their socioeconomic status that enabled us to statistically control for that when we were analysing our results. And fortunately, what we found was that socioeconomic status didn't affect the pattern of results that we found, except for one food group, which was vegetables. And there was a general effect of socioeconomic status. It didn't differentiate the two weaning groups. So it was a similar pattern for both the baby-led weaning group and also the spoon-fed weaning group. But socioeconomic status was associated with liking of vegetables, such that the higher the socioeconomic status, the higher the liking of vegetables.
It's tremendous fun. It's incredibly messy, but we have family meals with our two children now. Alara is just nearly 9 months, and whilst it's incredibly messy, it's delightful. It's really good fun. And I think it's had a good impact on increasing our fibre-a-day levels, because we definitely eat more fruit and vegetables.
Some health visitors have concerns about children choking when they're using more solid foods rather than the pureed foods. But that wasn't something that came up particularly strongly in our results either. So those concerns that people have had that perhaps have made parents perhaps choose the alternative form of weaning are perhaps dealt with in our paper and can be used to better advise parents, to give them a more complete picture when they're deciding which weaning style to use with their children.
We're absolutely delighted that the paper's being published in BMJ Open. We think that will mean it has a good impact for academics, health practitioners and so on. It's an open access journal. That means anybody can read it who has internet access anywhere around the world. We see this very much as a stepping off point. We do need some large prospective studies to track children over time, to see what happens with their food preferences, to see what happens with their health outcomes and so on. So we see this very much as the start of the ball rolling in this area of research.